Help us save the Michigan Panthers and keep them in Michigan by scanning the QR code and signing the petition today. With the 96th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select, everybody knows by now, Brodric Martin. And Brad Holmes was in front of ESPN yesterday on This Is Football, and he joined the show. And they asked him, it was about a 10-minute interview, and they asked him basically what was his biggest scouting regret of being a general manager thus far, and here's what he had to say.
One rep back. You get to do a play over from your career.
Okay.
With GMs, we ask, what's the scouting report you wish you had back? Whether that's when you were a scouting eye. So Gutekunst yesterday gave us Frank Gore. Veach gave us Fred Warner. Puka Nacua actually was Brandon Beane. So what, in your whole career, what's the one I wish I pounded the table for this guy?
You know, I would. The one that I've spoken about most recently is Puka Nacua. That is, as my personnel staff, that's the one that I brought up. That's like, man, like, like, you know, it's just, it is what it is. But you know what? If you don't recognize those things, you know, if you don't self-assess yourself constantly, you can't grow and you can't get better, you know. So everybody wants to preach, you know, humility and being humble and all that. You got to be honest to be humble. And so you just have to be honest about, you know, if you miss out on something, it's something you could have done a little bit better.
Brad Holmes.
There you go. If you miss out on something, it's something you could have done a little bit better. Now, speaking of better, I'm pretty bitter that we didn't take a pass rusher instead. But it's okay. We decided to take Brodric Martin. But here's the thing that is just glorious. I am digging this because it is probably the first glimpse at humility that Brad Holmes has really shown since 2023. Because don't forget, we took Jahmyr Gibbs, and everybody ridiculed him for that pick. I love the pick, by the way, but he got ridiculed for taking Jahmyr Gibbs as high as he did. Still didn't, only pass rusher worth anything yet to be determined, like other than Aiden Hutchinson. Ahmed Hassanin, still got to see what he got in an actual football game regular season. So you want to know why I'm so irritated? This is why. This, to me, is Brad Holmes admitting that he made a mistake by taking the 96th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. Now, of course, you're not going to know exactly what you're getting when you draft someone. There are so many layers that go into my frustration and why this pick was so bad. To me, it's two things that go into this. One is the fact that Brodric Martin was taken in the top 100. He had no business being there. Number two, and the most egregious thing, is the fact that we gave up 3 picks to come get him. We gave up a 4th and 2 5ths to come up to the 3rd round and get Brodric Martin. Brad Holmes regrets not drafting Puka Nacua. Let's compare the two gentlemen, shall we? This comes from ESPN, all right? Puka Nacua, 24, BYU, was picked in the 5th round of the 2023 NFL Draft. Now, everyone makes mistakes. This is not me trying to clown on Brad Holmes' mistakes. As a matter of fact, when it was done, I really didn't have a reaction because I didn't know who this guy was. But as the season went on, as I saw how useless he would be in helping us get to what actually turned into a legitimate Super Bowl run when the whole world thought we were, quote, ahead of schedule, we get there. I have been screaming about a pass rusher for years, and then we get one, and that's all we get. And you trade up for a guy who had no impact on your team. That is when I start getting very nitpicky when it came to this particular pick. Puka Nacua, picked 177 in the 5th round in 2023. But what has he done? What has he done, Derek? A whole lot. In his 2 years with the LA Rams, played all 17 games his rookie season, had 105 receptions on 160 targets. 1486 was his yards, 6 touchdowns. He had 14.2 per catch. 2024 was battling injury, still managed to get 11 games, had 79 yards, 106 targets, almost was one catch shy of 1,000 yards, and still managed to get 3 touchdowns and 12.5 per catch. But what about this guy? Brodric Martin was taken in the 3rd round, pick number 96, 26 years old, 6'5", 326 pounds. What has he done? Look up, but I don't see anything. Y'all remember that? Let me know if you get the reference. You got to be local to get the reference to that. But when you look at the two, this is what you see. And we traded up to get this guy. That is the frustration, ladies and gentlemen. But why? Why did the Detroit Lions find it so they had to trade up to get Brodric Martin? Here is what Brad Holmes had to say the day after Brodric Martin, a day 2 draft pick in which we traded up to get in a year that we eventually went to the Super Bowl. All right. Here's what he had to say. This is coming from DetroitLions.com. Friday was moving day for Detroit Lions general manager Brad Holmes. He traded up twice and back twice on day 2 with at least a move with the latest a move into the 3rd round at pick 96 to take Western Kentucky defensive tackle Brodric Martin. Holmes gave up a 4th, 122, and 2 5ths, 139 and 168. I want you to pay close attention to this. 168. Here's what he had to say. Let's call him an, quote, under the radar guy. Holmes said Friday. Non-combine guy showed up at the East-West All-Star game and did a really nice job. And that's really where he popped on my radar. Well, Holmes, you really made a mistake by drafting him. That's what made me dive deeper into his film. You see him playing in some better competition games like Auburn, and you see some stuff kind of late. He just has a lot of physical traits that get you really excited about his, quote, upside. You traded up for a guy for upside. For a team that was a contending team. Maybe Brad didn't know we were. I don't know. I have no idea. But remember I told you to pay close attention to where Puka Nacua was taken. Puka Nacua was taken at pick 177. So theoretically, the Detroit Lions could have stayed right where they were and took him. And still had 9 spots to spare. But instead, what do we do? This. With the 96th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Brodric Martin. Now, you might say, dang, Derek, what did Brad or Brodric do to you? Absolutely nothing. This is not about Brodric, the person, the man, the human being. This is about the fact that Bradley Matthias, Jerome Cornelius, and yes, I made all of those middle names up. I just think it's fun. So those are not his names. I just think it's funny that his armor is impenetrable. You cannot penetrate his armor. He makes mistakes. We all do. That's the entire point of this. He has done a tremendous job with our football team. So good, in fact, that we forget where we came from. And yes, he has brought us from the dirt. There's no doubt about it. This is the most success we've had in a long time. I acknowledge that. I see that. I give him credit for that. My concern, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that we still are Super Bowl-less. We haven't been to one, and we haven't appeared in one. Have we won the NFC North finally? Yes, commendable. Have we had the first seed for the first time ever? Absolutely. Thank you. But we have not been to a Super Bowl. And I don't know about you guys, but none of that matters. I would trade 1 billion of those things for one Super Bowl, right? And yes, have we progressively gotten better every year? Absolutely. And that's great. But I am not look where we were. Look at where we came from. I'm not like that. I am, where are we going? When are we getting there? That is me. We know where we came from. We know that. That's one of the reasons I started this YouTube channel, is because nobody was willing to give us, even when we did something good, they didn't want to say anything. ESPN, NFL Network, all they did was dwell on the negative. And you didn't have real fans, real people who know the ins and outs, who know that we needed a pass rush, who know that we still need a pass rush, who see every move. You guys who watch this YouTube channel, you hang on every move the Detroit Lions make. That's why we're here. I don't care where we came from. I care about where we're going and when will we get there. Will I still be alive? That's what this is about, and it's about nothing else. I appreciate what he's done. There's no doubt about it. He gets credit. But what you will not hear me do is settle. You will not hear me settle. Every year is a different year. Next year is not guaranteed. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. And you can't. Everybody's going to make mistakes. This Brodric Martin was a mistake. He was a mistake. There's no doubt. I'm sorry. Drafting him was a mistake. I don't want anybody to take this out of context. He seems like a great young man and a great human being, but to trade up, miss out on Puka Nacua, and regret it is essentially what was being said, right? Because you got some scout got it wrong. I don't know if it was Brad or the scouts. But Brad, these are Brad's words. These are Brad's words. Let's call him an under-the-radar guy, Holmes said. These are Brad's words. So Brad takes some blame in this too, all right? Anyway, I'm actually, this makes me feel a little bit better. Because one thing you don't get a lot from Brad Holmes, he's been very snarky lately, especially when you talk about the edge rusher position. But today or yesterday, this interview, that's all I want. It's two things I want. Just show some humility a little bit. And two, go get a pass rusher. Bring back Zadarius, something. Just address that defensive end position the proper way, and I will be happy. I don't matter, though. I don't matter. In the grand scheme of things, I don't matter. I have no control. I have no say. I am here to give you my opinion, and that's it. That is it. So anyway, I think this is a big step for Brad, even though he didn't directly say, but to admit, yo, you were sitting there at 168 had you not traded up for Brodric Martin. And I know this is all subjective because any number of things could have happened, but theoretically, we could have taken him. Would that have made a Super Bowl? I don't know. But it would have been a better pick than the 96th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. To be very clear, I am wishing Brodric Martin nothing but the best. He needs to be able to play actual games. Maybe it's in the NFL, maybe it's in the UFL, maybe it's somewhere else. But I hope that he accomplishes his dreams, whatever they are. Will he be on this team come in the month? I'm not so sure about that. I'm going to say no. Nothing personal. But it's never been personal with anything or any one of these players, right? I mean, after all, they're playing for us. They're playing for us. So even though we don't take it personal, in a way we could. Because this team and their success means the world to us. It means everything. This channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. It's because of your support I get to do what I do. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. Again, want to have you guys, hopefully, scan the QR code, help us keep the Michigan Panthers in Michigan, and let The Rock know, make them smell what we cooking, all right? You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.